line has the potential to be problematic for the host. So Faz, thanks for staying with us. So what do you think about this, the timeline? We'll start there.
Well, I'm wondering if we ever thought this would happen, that basketball would get bowled out by cricket
Never.
at the Pan Am Games in
Never.
the Americas of all places. So, but again, I think there's a recognition that there's a global movement, the impact of India on the cricketing world. There's a lot of economics attached to it as well. The Saudis are positioning themselves to put billions into the game. So it is being seen as much of a sporting opportunity as a commercial opportunity. And I think it's fantastic for the game. I would be the first to say I'm one of those dinosaurs who wondered what was the point of taking cricket to all parts when it's actually being played by a bunch of expatriates all over the world, from the West Indies, from England, from the subcontinent, and so on. But you can see the benefit of the growth of the game. So I think it's a tremendous opportunity. And yes, those controversies that you mentioned, they'll be part of the discussion. But 2027 is a year away. And given all that would be required, I think there's enough time still to put things in place to have a cricket tournament that I think will do justice to the stature of the Pan American Games.
Yeah, and as they say, it's kind of like a strategic road leading up into LA 2028, where cricket will also be included. Faz, one of the things though that's not clear is like, how will the teams be represented? Like, I'm thinking about the West Indies, as in, do you think the West Indies will be going as a unit? Like, do you have information on how this format would work?
No, I don't. But if we go by past experience at other games, it will have to be individual territories. And I know this is a concern for Cricket West Indies, that they've been lobbying for special consideration for the West Indies, given our role in the global game for more than 100 years now, because we were playing representative cricket even before playing Test cricket in 1928, and we're coming up to the centenary of that, which is a significant moment as well. But yeah, it is something that is going to be very challenging, because at the Commonwealth Games, we've seen teams compete as individual territories. In Malaysia in 1998, in Birmingham not so long ago. So it would be surprising if there were to be a West Indies team at the Pan American Games. I don't see that, nor do I see a West Indies team at the Olympic Games, because the Olympics are again about individual territories, their national flags, and so on. So we'll have to wait and see what will be the qualifying tournament. What is that going to be like? Will there be a situation where the more teams from the Caribbean who have a history in the game will be accommodated in the Pan Am Games than many of the South American or Central American nations? We'll just have to wait and see the format.
Yeah, and maybe about 40 nations will be taking part in the Pan Am Games, and almost half of that Caribbean nations as well. So it would have been interesting if West Indies were taking part in that, but I would think it would be individual nations as well. We haven't heard details of the qualifying tournament for the Olympics, and I think there are about 6 teams, male and female, who will be taking part in LA 2028. Obviously, we haven't got the details, but how do you think it will work in a country like Peru? Yes, there's still some time before the competition gets underway, but if you're going to take a risk, so to speak, I didn't want to use that phrase, on cricket at the Pan American Games, do you think this window of opportunity is a little bit too small for things to really come together well?
Not really, Donald, because when you think about it, it's about coming up with your format for qualification. But first and foremost, decide how many teams are going to qualify. They might go with the Olympic template, if it's 6 teams, male and female, to qualify and come up with the format. And that's why I mentioned that I think the challenging part will be to have a situation where there's even representation. And some will say, well, how could you have a Pan Am Games where Jamaica is left out, or Barbados is left out, or Trinidad and Tobago or Guyana are left out, and you have Peru playing, or Argentina playing, or Uruguay playing, when they have no history in the game? The fact is that this is all part of growing the global game. If people don't know, Argentina and Uruguay played an international match before there was Test cricket. But again, the fact is the game never really grew the way it's grown in the English-speaking Caribbean, the former British colonies. So we have to recognize these realities. And therefore, it's up to the organizers to work out how they're going to structure it. But at the end of the day, you're never going to please everyone. You're going to have someone complaining about something or the other, people's traditions being ignored and cast aside. But as to the newness of it, I don't see a problem with that, because obviously it's going to be a T20 format, which is 3 hours, which is baseball size in terms of duration. So even for a new audience, if many of them in Lima are wondering what sport is this, it'll be like for us in the Caribbean who are wondering what hurling is all about, or are wondering what highlight is all about, or lacrosse is all about. If it happens to be played in our part of the world, it's just about experiencing a new discipline. So I don't see that as an issue at all.
So, Faz, if I'm hearing you correctly, T20 has its use, right?
Absolutely, and I know you're going to corner me with that, because quite obviously I'm not a fan of T20, but it has grown the game. The bottom line is that the shorter the game is, the more unpredictable it is, the more people you're going to get involved in the game, and therefore you have players all over the world who enjoy the T20 format. So whether dinosaurs like me cuss and complain is irrelevant. Dinosaurs like me are going to go the way of the old dinosaurs sooner or later. And the T20 game quite obviously is going to grow and going to give more cricketers in many other parts of the world, many far-reaching corners of the globe, to have an opportunity to make an international statement in the game.
You should watch the new Jurassic World, by the way. I hear it's absolutely brilliant. We've seen the marketing in this side of the world a little bit strained, and maybe because West Indies is the main representation this side of the world. I think as far as marketing the game is concerned, this is a really good move when you look at it from that aspect, that teams from the Americas will be playing for a cricket title.
You know, as I mentioned that bit of history, part of the way I would market the game, I mean, I know nothing about marketing. I'm not in the PPR thing. But I would bring to people's attention that Argentina have been playing cricket for a long, long time. Uruguay have been playing cricket for a long time. Most of the South American nations are affiliate or associate members of the ICC. And therefore, there is a level of representation. Clearly not to the level that would make them powerhouses in the game. But it's about saying that, look, this is a sport that we've played for over 100 years without much of a profile. Now is the chance to step up onto the Pan American Games platform and show what we're capable of. And indeed, how do you say how's that in Spanish or something like that?
Yeah, well, Faz, what's for sure is, a lot of the details are a bit unclear yet because, the announcement just came recently. So I'm looking forward to hear from the Pan Am organization as to, how it will work, how the teams get in and all of that, because I think it's an interesting development. And I always say once cricketers get more opportunities to play cricket, they love that opportunity. So let's see.
Let's see, indeed. And indeed, how do you say leg before wicket in Portuguese?
Well, I have to work on my Portuguese, so we'll work on that. But thanks, Faz. Thanks for stopping by.
Take care.
Yeah, Fazir Mohammed there, of course, talking to us about these cricket discussions. So are you excited for the Pan Am Games and cricket being a part? Are you a cricket lover?
Are you kidding me? Cricket is
I
my
don't know.
favorite
All
sport.
I ever see you doing is football. I have to ask.
Cricket is my favorite sport.
Oh.
I grew up on cricket. I grew up playing the game as well.
So how come you only work on football?
Because that's what we broadcast here at the Home of Champions, my home away from home. But yes, no, cricket is my favorite sport.
Cricket is my favorite sport. Can you get another one?
No, that's not how it works.
Okay. All right. Well, we look forward to seeing how that turns out.
All right.
Donald?
And we should cover it, both of us together when it's there, don't it?
All right. We're up on a break.
You
I don't know why he
hold on,
keeps drawing me into
Don't you
his...
know cricket coverage, Ray?